Welcome to the UK's first metal detection podcast. It's All Metal Mode UK with your host from across the pond, Mr. Michael Hare.
Hello everybody, this is Mike here and you're listening to the All Metal Mode UK podcast with my co-host, Mr. Oh boy, we're off to a start. What's your name?
You have to make it up as you go along.
Yeah, name's slipping my mind. How bad is that?
How could you forget me?
Oh man, I'll tell you.
Dave Sadler, you silly man.
Dave, I must be a little nervous tonight. You know, well, having Gary Blackwell on, you know, such a legend, just must have totally flustered me, I guess. I guess that's what happened. Oh, boy, I apologize, Dave.
I'll let you know.
Well, and I think what it is, I've got Dave on my mind. Dave DiNatale's going to be on tonight. We got Gary. We got Gary Cook. We've got Graeme. So, like, all these names are going through my head, and all of a sudden I'm like, wait. Who's my co-host? Who? What?
Can't be any worse than last week, Mike.
Yeah,
people we had last week.
Yeah, I mess up every week. I think it's just part of the show, and we just got to roll with it. How you doing, Dave?
I'm absolutely knackered, Mike. Ready for bed.
Oh well, shoot.
Back to work yesterday, and it's I've been on 12 hours yesterday, today, and tomorrow. So and then obviously the weekend, then back to it. Exceptionally busy. Busiest we've ever been, I think. So,
well, shoot, let's get into it then. I'm really excited to hear what Gary and Graeme have to talk about. I want to hear about the ORX and how you guys doing.
Hey, good evening, everyone.
Good evening, Gary.
Everyone.
And for those of you who don't know, we've got Gary Blackwell from XP, and we've got a friend of mine and Luke's, Graeme Stokes, who does a lot of in the field work and reviews for the Archaeology and Metal Detector magazine. So Graeme's on tonight as a guest because Graeme has the recent released XP ORX. So Graeme's going to give a brief chat about that, and I think he's got some questions that he'd like to ask Gary. A bit of help and a bit of pointing him in the right direction.
Yeah, hello everyone, Graeme here. How are you, Dave?
I'm all right, Graeme here. How are you?
Yeah, not bad, mate. Got man flu, so you'll have to bear with me if I'm not coming through loud and clear. But I'm surviving by drinking Guinness, so you know I'm on the mend, shall we say?
Good.
My little girl, real quick. My little stepdaughter's 9 years old, and Steph will say the man flu, and Monkey will correct her and say, more like the girl flu. Yeah. That girl's tough on me, let me tell you. Go ahead, Graeme. Sorry.
Cool. So, yeah, I picked up the ORX recently, and a little bit about myself. I've been detecting for 2 years, and mainly through my job. I'm a children's A&E nurse, so I was looking for a hobby that was going to be relaxing, and metal detecting was sort of one of them itches that I always wanted to scratch. And through something that happened, I got given a Garrett 150 a couple of years ago, and on my very first ever dig that I went out on, I found an artifact, and I thought it was something, as you do, because it's green. And anyway, I bumped into Luke, never met him before, and I said, is this anything? He said, yeah, it's a Roman fibula brooch. So that was my start to metal detecting, and immediately I then went on to another Garrett, the Euro, and then onto the AT Pro, and I was very pleased with the AT Pro. But recently I was thinking to myself, well, I'd like to upgrade, get a variable frequency machine, something lighter, something that folds away. With the wireless, I did have the wireless set for the AC Pro, and I loved that machine. But yeah, I wanted to, like I say, get something lighter. And the for me, through the things that you see on the internet, on social media, the Deus is the god of machines in our hobby. But it was a little bit out of my price range as a nurse, and lo and behold, the ORX came out. I thought, right, let's give it a go, and so far so good. But one question I did have for you, Gary, was what was XP's thinking behind the HF coil being a standard and not the X35? Was there any reasoning behind that?
Hi, Graeme. Yes, because the ORX, we really wanted to sort of hit the gold market, and the HF coils have a higher frequency range. The round white one goes up to 55 kilohertz, and the elliptical goes up to 80 kilohertz. So that's really hitting your small gold nuggets. So that's really why we use the white HF coils as standard, just purely because the gold market is absolutely massive out there, and we just wanted to tap into it.
Yeah. So I've got the 9-inch HF coil myself, and so far I was out on pasture recently. It was all pasture on the dig I went on, and as it was my first proper time out, I'd done some test beds at home, but as it was my first time out, I was using the coin fast mode.
Uh-huh.
So what would your tips be for being out on pasture, for example?
If you're on the pasture and you're looking at extra depth, probably the coin deep mode would be your better option. It uses slightly raw filter and a slower reactivity. But quite often you can be on a pasture site which is quite contaminated. So my recommendations there would be just have a little tweak around with your reactivity until the machine settles. Sometimes that low reactivity of 2 can make the machine a little bit sparky. So just experiment with 2.5 and 3. Just mess around with that.
Okay.
But
that's cool.
Carry on, sorry.
No, I was just saying you mentioned depth there. Something that did impress me with the ORX was I did a couple of test beds at home, and I've got a very small quarter hammy that I put in the ground and covered over about 4.5 inches. And I found it with the AT Pro, but it wouldn't pick it up. But the ORX in coin deep mode gave a great signal with the HF coil. So I was very impressed with that.
Yeah, the coin deep mode uses a different type of filtering compared to the coin fast mode. Coin fast basically is Deus fast on your Deus, and coin deep is the deep mode, which is program number 6 on your Deus, and they use different filtering. So the deep program does hit harder on deeper targets, but the disadvantage is it's not so good amongst iron. You get a little bit of this signal crossover. So really there's no other adjustments you need to make. I've been using the ORX for a little while now, and I just switch it on and go. I don't feel there's any real need to make any tweaks to it. Sometimes I can ramp the sensitivity up a little bit more, but that's about it, and that's the beauty of it. You just grab it and go, and it's a breath of fresh air really, just to pick up something and swing it.
I must admit that was how I went when I went out on that dig. I hadn't really had much time to get to know the machine, and I thought, well, what the heck? It's an opportunity to get out. And I got out, and literally turned it on, and it was, and we were away.
Yeah.
And I was shocked as well at how much. I was actually thinking, it's going to be an easy day because I've got this really light machine now. But I was digging a lot more, so I was just as tired at the end of the day than if I'd been carrying around a heavier machine all day because I was doing more digging. Well, that's how it felt anyway. So, what isn't on the ORX that you do get on the Deus? What are the differences for the listeners to know?
Well, the ORX has no expert menu. The only expert menu it's got is on the frequency shift. So you've got no silencer adjustment. The tones aren't adjustable. It's a free tone. It's fixed. Whereas the Deus, you've got a multiple choice of tones. You've got TX gain adjustments on the Deus when you're using the black coils. The list goes on, really. But the good thing about the ORX is it's still updatable. You can still use your MI6 pinpointer with it, with the research mode, etc. And you can still use the X35 coil. So really, it is a Deus without the expert features, if you like.
Yeah. And there are two extra programs. You can 2 user programs, aren't there? Customizable ones. Someone on Facebook did ask me to ask you, can we expect to hear any Gary specials for the ORX in the future?
I'd like to say yes, but really with a machine as simple as this, there's not really anywhere to go with it. It's a switch on and go. Everything's been taken care of in-house. But, there may be some updates for it in the very near future with some little tweaks added. So never say never. Let's see what happens.
Mm-hmm. With regards to something that I didn't know about until I got the machine, and I was having a flick through the instruction booklet, there's about the XP app that's been developed. Someone told me that it's been in development for a while. I was asked to ask you, when can we expect that?
The Go Terrain app, I have a prototype version on my phone at the moment, and I've just been playing around with it. It's not finished yet. We've got another company working on this app for us, so it's not actually XP doing the development on this, although we're doing the Deus side of it. So we're really in this other company's hands. When they're finished, then it will be ready. But XP, we can't give a finish date. Hopefully it won't be too long now, because things are moving on with it. But until this other company really give us the finished job, we can't really give you any dates. I'm really sorry about that, Graeme.
No,
but
cool.
It's happening. It's happening.
Excellent. Well, one other thing that I've been really, really impressed with is I put it on charge, the full bit of kit, and how you charge it. I mean, that's just brilliant. With the 3-way cable. It only took about 3 hours to fully charge. And then, the battery life on all of it is just unbelievable compared to what I'm used to. So, big up XP for a great bit of technology there. Trying to think, what else have we got here, question-wise? Someone asked, is the new stem available on its own so they can put their Deus on it, their Deus console on there? Is it going to be available to buy separately?
It is, and it's not expensive. Even when you think about the Deus stem we're using at the moment, it's about £175, I think. This new S-Lite telescopic stem's going to be around the £100 mark. So
it's very good.
It's you do notice a difference in weight when you're using it as well. Although it's only a few grams lighter as such, it does feel much more nimble. If the Deus could ever feel more nimble than what it does, but they've done it again.
Well, the stem itself, I thought the build quality is outstanding. The arm cuff bit. I hate to say this, but I put the detector on the boot of my car, and I thought everything was in, and I closed the lid, closed the boot, and as it went down, I something was stopping it, lifted it up, I'd closed the lid on the stem, and I didn't even mark it. I mean, the detecting gods were looking over me there. But it really is really well built. So again, well done XP for a great bit of design work there.
Sure. Another little top tip with that stem, it'll come with an arm strap. A lot of people don't bother with the arm strap, but I use it all the time, especially if I'm searching stubble. It tends to stop the inertia. The arm strap's not got to be tight. Just leave it loose, so your arm can come in and out quite easy.
Okay.
But just try it. It makes such a difference when you're whacking through stubble.
Real quick, Gary,
tip.
we have a question from the chat that I think is pretty relevant. Will the program code be available to third parties to program their own app?
No, I don't think so. No, it's all in house.
Okay. I'm sorry, Graeme.
That's okay. Where were we? I've got another question just about the. I think I know the answer to this, but we can discuss it. The ORX headphones. Again, when I was out, I didn't even feel like I had headphones on. They were that comfortable. Unbelievable, weight and design to them. I mean, a few of my friends don't really get on with this sort of designer headphone, but I thought they were really good. So what's the difference between the ones for the ORX and the Deus headphones, and are they compatible with the Deus?
Right, the actual headphone band with the speakers, that's exactly the same as the Deus headphones, the WS4s. It's the module what's different. So on the ORX, as you've seen, you haven't got a screen or a menu. It's just simply a plus and a minus button, which you adjust the volume with. The module detaches exactly the same way as the WS4 headphones. You can slide it off, put the horseshoe adapter in, and use whatever headphones you want using the horseshoe adapter. It's not compatible with the Deus. Neither of the WS4 headphones compatible with the ORX. A little top tip with the headphones is that when you put the headphones on, you've got the hinged band at the back. Now, if you just tilt that hinge band down so it's touching on the back of your neck, that makes the WS4 ORX WS Audio headphones a lot more comfortable, because it kind of takes the weight off your ears, and that's the way they were designed to be used. So just remember just to bend that hinge band down so it's just touching the back of your neck when you're detecting.
Yeah, superb. Well, I think that's my list of questions that I picked up off members of the ORX Facebook group, and things that I came up with. But overall, personally, I'm having a great time so far using the ORX. It's a really light machine, as we've discussed. I believe is it around 770 grams, something like that?
Something like that, yeah. It's not a lot at all, is it? It's a nice light piece.
Compared to my previous detector, it's a heck of a lot lighter. It's awesome. So Gary, what things can we expect from XP this year in 2019?
Hopefully, we've got a couple of new machines coming out. We might have some new products coming out. I've got to be really careful on this one, because it's all sort of kept under wraps at the minute. But we are frantically working on a couple of completely new machines. Hopefully they'll be out towards the end of this year.
Gary, this is just a couple friends talking. You can tell us and we won't tell anybody.
Okay, so we're off there now. Oh, that's great. So I can tell you all about it. The machines are called... no. But, Graeme, anyone out there, if you've got any good XP stories or nice XP finds you want to send across, I'd be more than happy to share them on our media, the Facebook page or the XP blog. So at the moment, we're just in the process of having a completely new XP website built, and that will include the XP Classroom and various other platforms from around the world. So it's looking to be a really, really good buoyant website. So I'm looking forward to that. So Yeah, regarding new machines, things are happening, guys. They are happening, but I've got to be so careful about what I talk about, you know?
Of course, we understand. Real quick, Graeme, before you go, what's the exact name of the Facebook group concerning the ORX?
Well, this is just one that someone I know set up. It's the XP ORX Users UK. I mean, at the moment, there's only about 15 people in the group, but the majority do have an ORX, and there's a few that are looking to buy one. Hopefully, there's a few people listening tonight that are on there. Yeah, there's more and more videos appearing coming online, but not many in English. So hopefully, if my man flu clears up and I get out on Saturday with my permission, I'll be able to do a few videos and show the public how good the ORX really is. We could talk about it all night, but people want to see the evidence of how good it is. I mean, Gary Cook, who's on shortly, he's done a great write-up in one of the magazines this month, and he's having a great time with it by the looks of things. So yeah, look out for my videos on YouTube soon. Yeah,
no, hopefully, as always, Graeme will be serving his videos on the Archaeology and Metal Detecting magazine as well. So not only look for them on YouTube, but also on the Facebook and Twitter feeds as well. You'll be able to see them when Graeme completes them.
Yeah, definitely. So,
yeah, there you go. I think that's all the questions that we needed to for the night anyway, Mike. He's covered more or less everything. So, just myself to yourself, Graeme, have you found anything, of consequence since you've been using the ORX? I know you've only been out twice, but anything, you think's pretty cool?
When I went to the first time I went out, I've been out twice. The first time I went out, just literally for 2 hours, was to. I've got to be careful how I explain this permission, because people know I'm from Brighton and they'll know exactly where it is. Let's just say it's quite a public area, and there's a lot of contamination on there. And I've been over it quite a lot with the previous detector, but I had a couple of old pennies that I know I've been over that area a couple of times with my previous detector, and the ORX picked them up. When I was out on the dig with my mate Ray, he organised a dig recently. There was a few coins, that sort of thing, but nothing of any significance, because as I mentioned earlier, it's about learning your machine. I was getting a lot of signals and I was digging an awful lot, and yeah, I'm hopeful more this Saturday. I'm going to a place which it's on the Wales-England border. It's just up the road from Chester, so I'm hoping for something Roman on Saturday. So I'll do some videos and post them on the ArkMD page. And
well, if you let me know beforehand, obviously where it is. I'm from Ellesmere Port, which is 7 miles from Chester. So
yeah,
the area itself, I'm pretty up on historically. So give us a shout, and I'll be able to sort of give you an idea of what if anything historically took place in that area anyway.
Yeah, definitely, mate. I'll ping over the details, and if you're free, come along.
I certainly will. Thank you very much.
Hold on real quick before you go. I've got a question, Graeme. So you told us what you've used in the past. You've only been out twice, and you're finding stuff. It sounds like you're getting along with it really good, and you're already starting to understand it. Is that correct?
That is correct. It's so. I mean, when I got the AT Pro, I hadn't been detecting that long when I had the AT Pro, and that took me quite a while to get used to it, to get to understand the machine. And I had the Nel Tornado coil for it, and I knew that machine inside out, still do. But you get a new machine, it feels different. You're listening to a different sound. You've got different numbers. Everything's just completely different. And you can literally pair the headphones with your with the display, and you're away. You know, ground balancing's easy. For me, it's an ideal detector for where I'm at in detecting, having been doing it for 2 years now. It's not sort of a beginner machine. It's more your intermediate. I think Gary Cook sums it up well. In sort of like it's like you could possibly describe it as the younger brother to the Deus in a way, because like as Gary just mentioned, it's got similar things to the Deus, and yeah, it's superb for me so far.
Okay, real quick, as chat's moving, I want to ask Gary a quick question. Gary, when can we expect? Kevin Whitmore asked, when can we expect another video with you in the ORX?
Very, very soon. I went out to do a video a few days ago, but I got back and I put all the footage on the computer and the wind noise was just howling. So I thought that's another one scrapped. What people probably don't realise when you're out self-videoing, you really know what the quality is until you get home. And there's so many videos I've done and they've been scrapped. When I'm out with Stuart, it's a different matter because he can monitor the sound and he does all the editing, so we know what's happening in real time. But yeah, okay. Hopefully I'll get out tomorrow and do a little bit of filming. If not, certainly over the next week or so. We've got some things to cover on the ORX which we didn't cover in our original video. We wanted to leave it a little bit open-ended so we could get customer feedback and then do videos based on their questions. So yeah, we'll have something up really, really soon. I'm going to France in a few weeks' time and we're going to be doing some gold hunting with it in the mountains.
Oh.
So we're looking for that.
Well, if there's any room in your suitcase, Gary, I'm only small.
Where are you?
No, Graeme, you're not.
You're only in Brighton. Did you say you're in Brighton?
Yeah, I'm in Brighton, yeah.
Oh, you're just down the coast road from me then, so we're not too far.
Cool. Well, if you ever need someone to tag along, then you can pick me up on the way.
You got it. No problem.
I'll bring the wine.
Don't. Yeah.
Another thing I want to mention, Kevin Whitmore again, he said, I found a Saxon brooch and a Viking stirrup mount with my ORX. And then a little further down in chat, while we were talking about, picking up a new detector, he said, I was pleased, especially with a new machine. So it sounds like he's getting along with it really quick. And I think that's great news. That's always nice when you can pick up a new detector and learn it quick. It sounds like it's very friendly, user-friendly.
It is. It's just turn it on and get cracking. It really is as simple as that. And that's the beauty of it. It kind of reminds me back in the old Tesoro Silver Sabre days where you didn't have to make any adjustments with it. You just went out and done your thing. And at the end of the day, as long as you're digging, that's all that matters. As long as fines are going in your battery, it's doing the job.
I love detectors that are very customizable and stuff, but there's really something to be said about easy, simple, and gets the job. I love the workhorses of this hobby. There's some detectors that are just really simple. They're easy to get along. You can pick them up, and of course, not many. I wouldn't say, but not in this kind of price range. I feel like you know what I'm saying. I mean, there's some really simple starter detectors in that starter price range that are easy, obviously. But when you get in this price range, they're usually a little more complicated. And I like the work. I really have a lot of respect for the workhorses that aren't too complicated.
Yeah, I think when it comes to buying a detector, you've got your cheap ones, and then you kind of move into a different bracket. And okay, you've got to chuck a little bit of money at them to get the features and the build quality and technology you really should be having. But the cheap ones are really in the expensive toy market, aren't they? And then you jump a notch and then start having one that actually performs. Mm-hmm. So sometimes it's just nice to get out there on an evening or early in the morning or nip down the beach or just do stuff and not having to think about anything. Or you can take members of your family with you who've never detected before, and just say, there you go, off you go. That's it, ready to go.
Right, exactly.
And
so,
to mention as well, the ORX has got assault mode on it as well, which I'll be trying out on Brighton Beach in the coming months when the weather picks up a bit. I mean, I'm really, really looking forward to, because that was another option for me. I mean, I'm not a big fan of going down to the beach detecting, but the beach is across the road from where I live, so having the salt mode on this machine was an extra tick in the box for me. So I'll be interested to see how it performs on the beach with the salt mode. Have you tried it yet, Gary?
I haven't tried it on the beach yet. We're planning to go to the Witterings, not far from you, and just do a beach video. If you want to hook up with us, you're more than welcome.
Yeah. Cool.
Gary, I know some guys here in the United States who, speaking of that, I'm trying to think of how to put it, are very successful with their XPs and saltwater. Their Deuses, I'm sorry. Their XP Deuses. With this salt feature, is the ORX expected to outperform on the beaches? No.
The Deus was never made as a salt water surf kind of machine. It does okay on the salt and the wet sand, but it's not ideal because of the wireless side of things and things like that. But you get by on it. But the ORX should be exactly the same as the Deus in Deus Fast, although it'll be interesting to try the gold mode on the beach. So that's really what I'm aiming for, giving that gold mode a try, because that ground grab should work quite well on the wet sand, I think, on the ground balance feature.
Okay. Yeah, I know, guys. I've had one guest on the US podcast, and he loves his on saltwater beaches. He said it took some getting used to, but he's become very successful with it. And of course, he's got the waterproof kit and all that, and but he does really good. So I was just curious. I wasn't sure. Is there a chance that the salt mode will handle the beaches any better?
Yeah, when you hit the salt mode, that changes the ground balance range. It goes from around the sort of 26. So factory presets about 88, 90 for inland. So that's the big jump between inland and the wet sand. Obviously, if you're on dry sand, you can use your standard ground balance. It makes no difference. But it's just the wet sand that kind of messes around with machines. And also, you've got to remember, there's so many types of wet sand, highly mineralized, low mineralized. It varies all across the world. So, it really is flip a coin on some beaches. But yeah, the salt mode does change the ground balance range. And I think the only other real adjustment you would need to make on the wet sand is just drop that sensitivity down just a little bit, just to calm it down.
Okay, good deal. Graeme, you got anything else?
No, I don't think so.
Okay.
I'm just looking at the MI6 pinpointer to get next. That's next on my list. So I've got an old Mine Lab pinpointer at the moment, which has served me well. But I like the idea of being able to connect the pinpointer to your headphones, that sort of thing. So I think I might have to wait till my birthday for that one, though, unless Dave's going to treat me to a new pinpoint.
Yeah, that's going to happen.
I think you're going to love that. From what I what I am hearing in the United States, everybody who has that pinpointer loves it. I think that was a pretty brilliant thing to come out with, and I'm only hearing good things, so that's a real plus, because rarely do you have. I mean, when you get a pinpointer, there's good and bad from whoever's all of them. It seems like people have issues with this one or that one, or interference or that, and it's kind of strange to hear only good. So That'll be great.
The research mode on the MI6 is absolutely fantastic. I had to put it to the test the other day, but it's I had to use it in the reverse sense because I was out detecting with Neil, a friend of mine, down the road, and I come home and I thought I had junk everywhere. My garage is full of junk. I just put stuff everywhere. The car's full of junk, and I couldn't find the MI6 pinpoint. And I thought, well, is it in amongst the junk or is it in the field? So I thought, how am I going to work this one out? I know. So I used research mode. I switched the controller on, went to pinpoint, went to research, and I hit research mode. So I didn't get a sound in the car or in the garage. So I kind of knew that, yeah, it's definitely in the field. So I phoned Neil up, and within 15 minutes, he'd walked over it and found it in the field.
Oh
so
God.
It worked really well, but not in the sense you'd think it'd work. So it's just confirming that I didn't have it with me. So, yeah, it was pretty cool. And the research mode actually works when the pinpointer is switched off. It wakes it up. So it can be sat there for weeks and it's not using up any charge until you hit the research mode and you're off again.
Oh, wow.
That's clever stuff.
Yeah, it is.
Yeah. That's definitely next on my list of things to get then. So
I've got the I4 sat next to me. It was provided by Regton's as a prize for our relaunch competition for the Archaeology and Metal Detecting magazine website last month, and I've had it out the box. I've had to play with it, and obviously I think I've got is it a Detectnics one at the moment, but this one, it's a nice feel to it in the hand. I mean, I've got fat hands, big fingers, and it's just right for my ergonomically perfect for me. Obviously, I'm unfortunate, don't have an XP piece of kit, metal detector, so obviously, but I can still use it as a pinpointer nonetheless without having to link it up to a machine, which again is fantastic for its for the piece of kit. You've got the option of doing it or moving towards it in the future.
Sure.
So yes, I'll be looking at it then when I'm out and about, back to full health, back to full fitness, and I'll be able to get out. I'll be having a play with. The person who won it I actually know, so I'm going to lend it off him before he starts using it. So
I think XP were doing a Christmas deal, weren't they? Buy an XP and you get a MI6 for £14.
I don't know, to be honest.
That was through Regton's. They did. You buy the full Deus version 5 Pro Pack and get the MI6 for $19.95.
That's right. That was like a worldwide offer for all our dealers.
Yeah, like I actually got my ORX I've got to be honest. My missus got it me for Christmas, but it was in the. We haven't mentioned price yet for the listeners. So the ORX with you get the choice of the 9.5 by 5 elliptical high frequency coil or the 9-inch round HF coil. That's £699, and then the headphones are £99.90, so like an extra £100 on top. So it's $799 with the wireless setup headphones, and I got 15% off with Regton's on the Black Friday sale. So I got the headphone setup for $679. I thought it was an absolute bargain.
Right. Yeah,
I did well there. I should have tried to get the MI6 pinpointer while she had her credit card out, shouldn't I?
Okay, hey everybody, I need everybody to be quiet for a second because we have a true metal detecting superstar on that I need to introduce and bring in. Mr. Gary Cook, how you doing, buddy?
Hiya, Dave. How you doing all right?
Gaza.
Evening, Gary.
Hello. Evening. Hello, Gaz. All right, mate. Hey, I wouldn't call myself a metal detecting superstar by any way, shape, or form.
I might exaggerate a little bit, but we do like you a lot. How's that?
Yeah, no, that's, yeah. I've been called many things, but a superstar is not one of them.
So, Gary Cook, have you used the ORX?
Yeah.
Oh, we got a bad connection there, don't we?
I think you had a yes anyway.
Yeah, I think there was...
Right, yeah. I have to apologise because I'm in my car at the moment driving, and I'm looking for somewhere I can pull over. So it will ease the reception a little bit. But to answer your question, yeah, I was very fortunate that Gary gave me one to play with running up to its launch, and so I could do a bit of a write-up in the magazine and just do a bit of a field test on it, really. And I'm absolutely loving it. It's a fantastic piece of kit. It really is.
Huh, that's great. Now we got too many Garys in.
Yeah, there's an easy way, Mike. Gary C or Gary B.
Right.
That don't sound good.
we sound like we should be in one of these boy bands.
Yeah, right. Gary B and Gary C. Okay, Gary B. Now, am I understanding correctly that with this new shaft on the ORX, it's even lighter than the Deus?
It is. Yeah, they've shaved some weight off this new S-Lite stem. It's because it's a one-piece construction. Which is great. I mean, XP can do anything they want regarding injection molding because they own a company that does injection molding. So it's a perfect example. We don't have to outsource any of this stuff really. So, they can play around with designs and ideas forever and a day.
Yeah. I know we touched on this the last time we had you on, but I don't know if Luke or Dave come up with this question, but I thought it was pretty brilliant. You guys, I mean, when you think of Deus or, I mean, pretty much XP metal detectors in general, I don't care how great of detectors you have, it's always going to come up how light they are. I hope I said that right. I mean, people love them, but I mean, they don't even talk about the great performance first. The first thing they talk about is light. I guess that's a better way to put it. How do you guys, first off, get away with that and still make them durable and strong, which they've more than been proven that. And then why do you think nobody has copied that yet? Or, I mean, even some of the lightest detectors out there still aren't where you guys are at.
I know, and do you know what? The mind boggles, doesn't it? I mean, 2019, and there's literally only a few manufacturers that make a machine that can pack small enough to go into a rucksack. I know Dillick over there is doing a great job with her latest machines. They fold down really small, and that's brilliant. She's listening to customers. But how many manufacturers are just making these big lumpy machines? And yeah, great, they can perform well, they might do all sorts of different things, but surely step one is making them fold down so they go into rucksacks. Compactability, is that really a word, compactability? Don't know.
I believe so.
There you go then. There you go.
If I could say, me and Gary went out metal detecting last Sunday, just the two of us, and we literally started at 9 o'clock in the morning. And when we detect together, when we get a chance to detect together, we do seriously detect, and we detect until it gets dark. And certain machines out there, there's just no way you could do that with there's just absolutely no way you could detect for nearly 7 to 8 hours solid. And still have an arm in your socket at the end of it. Whereas with the Orcs and the Deus, you don't even know you've got it in your hand. It's an extension. The way they've designed the handle it's like an extension of your arm, and we go out, don't we, Gaz? You know, for quite a few hours at a time, and you're not aching at all. You're not, your arm doesn't feel as if it's been, you know. And I think I mentioned it before. You know, when you've got to start harnessing yourself up to be able to detect and enjoy your hobby. It's not what I would call as a hobby, really. Well, it is, but it's not an enjoyable part of your hobby. If you're stomping around in wet clay like we're having at the moment in England, it's so wet that, you know, that's hard enough. But if you're carrying something ridiculously heavy as well, and you've got to put one of these harnesses on to actually be able to carry the thing, it's not what I call fun.
Yes.
Yeah. Absolutely. What's the point of punishing yourself? And I've got some guys, Team XP over in Romania. They're a great bunch of guys. They go off in the mountain for like 3 or 4 days detecting, and they have to take their survival on their back in a rucksack. You know, your food, your water, your cooking stuff. And they said, you know, we need a machine that just goes in a backpack. We can't afford to take extra luggage, you know. And seeing what these guys are doing out there, they're doing a fantastic job. They're literally living off the land and detecting. Unbelievable. But yeah, you know, different people want different things. But I think stage one really has to be a small, lightweight machine in this day and age.
Well, as I've said before, Gary, I'm physically not at my greatest, and I've got currently my machine of use is the Minelab E-Track, and yeah, it's heavy. So something like that, no matter what the brand that I end up using in the future, the lightness of it will from now on be a factor for me personally. I've got two good friends, Graeme and Dave. In fact, the community of metal detecting as a whole, each and everybody's got their own choice of machines, and the XP is a large choice of machines in the UK. I run a group called Tempest Archaeology and Metal Detecting based in Congleton. We've got about 12 members, and I think there's 8 of them members actually have gone towards now the XP Deus. And 2 of them in particular, Dave and Graeme, have been using the E-Track for, since I've met them. They've also been using the Bliss Tool version 5 and the Bliss Tool version 6.
Right.
And obviously, that's a totally different ball game with the Bliss Tool. But they've just been out and bought Deuses because they're both, Graeme's in his 60s, he's retired. Dave's in his 50s, and it's perfect for their use. The lightness of it. And as you say, there's only yourselves and probably 1 or 2 others who are taking the weight of the machine into account. And I think, as you say, especially if you look at the demographics of metal detectorists, there is a older generation who do detect, and for them, and people with disabilities and such like, the Deus, weight-wise, currently is the most perfect tool that they could use. I've not tried one. I'm going to have to try one in the future, be it a friend's or something. But it's definitely a factor that all companies in the industry must take into account.
That's right. It's such a simple thing to do, isn't it? But
yeah,
you know, they get.
Sorry, Gaz.
No, Gaz. Mate.
Yeah, I was going to say it's also as well. You know, if you think that a lot of the retired people out there as well, who are maybe just taking up metal detecting, people retired, you know, or people who've been detecting and they're getting older, and no disrespect to them, you know, it's harder and harder, you know, carrying your spade in a heavy machine. So the Deus can help out, you know, the older generation as well, who might not want to be able to carry a big hefty machine around. The Deus can give them those few extra hours in the field that they might have had to have stopped if they were using a heavier machine. You know, the XP have really ticked every single box that you can possibly want to tick, really, with the Deus. You know, it's people say, how can, like you said earlier, somebody said earlier, how can a machine be so robust and tough when it's so lightweight? Well, the Deus has proved that for the last sort of like since 2010 is proved that you can have a tough machine that, you know, and I use mine, as Gaz can tell you, I use mine in all different terrains, stubble, rocky ground. We've been on some of my, and I've got a few sites that has got a hell of a lot of flint in it, and the Deus really does take a good bashing on that, on flinty ground, because you're swinging your coil, and no matter how careful you are, occasionally, the Deus will whack into a large piece of flint, and as you know, some flint can be quite sharp, and the Deus takes it all in its stride, and it almost literally bounces off of the large piece of flint, and you just get on with your detecting, and it's absolutely fantastic. And excuse me, XP have shown that you can have a lightweight machine but still be robust and tough.
Well, it's funny that you mention that, and I probably shouldn't say this, but I'm not going to mention the name. There's a detector that's, we'll say it's been released recently, and it's, everybody talks about how lightweight it is, and it is. I've had one in my hand, but there's a huge difference when you put a Deus in your hand, which I have. It's balanced. Everything's great about it. I mean, it's super lightweight. This other one I put in my hand, and the arm cuff is junk. The shaft has a wobble to it. Your hand slides up it real quick and is rubbing under the... I mean, I think they did such a horrible job that they would have been better off making it heavier if the quality the quality of the build. I don't know about the programming. I'm not going to get into that, but the quality of the build of the shaft and everything, I think, is horrible. Just absolutely horrible. And so not only did you guys do lightweight, but I personally don't know anybody that's another thing. The coils are breaking. I've seen quite a few people posting that their coils are broken. I can't say, I'm sure it's happened. It happens, but I've never seen anybody breaking an XP coil from normal wear, even beating it up against corn stalks. I mean, we're going to talk about him later. Tim Glick, he's in farm fields. As soon as them crops are out until they put him back in, he's in farm fields. And I don't care how good you are, you're going to beat him on the corn stalks. It happens. And I don't know anybody who's broke one yet. This newer detector that they tried to go all lightweight, I think they've tried to, I think they did a pretty poor job. Are you mad at me for that, Gary?
I think any new machine is kind of work in progress. So the first model, you're just feeling your way through it, really. I think they've done a reasonably good job. Personally, I've got one sat here next to me right now. I think they've done a reasonably good job. It still, in my opinion, isn't better than the CTX. I really, really like the CTX. It's a heavy monster, but it's kind of got more of a personality, if that's the right word. I think they're going in the right direction. They need to perhaps listen to a few more customers on that front and just fine tune a lot of these things you talked about. But no, they're doing all right. They're doing okay. And I think what it boils down to with this hobby, whatever machine you have, as long as you're happy with it, well, all's fair in love and war. You've got to enjoy this hobby, and that's the main thing. If it starts to be like a hard day at work, you need to buy a fishing rod. Right. Simple.
Yeah, I couldn't agree more with that. If you don't enjoy the hobby, if you're not enjoying yourself, then like Gav said, take up something else. But the one thing I would say, what XP have mastered with the Deus is they got the balance, as Depeche Mode once sang, they got the balance right pretty much straight away. With the handle, the grip, the angle of the handle grip, the way the cup sits and in the arm, and the way that the S stem connects with your body. I've said it a minute ago. It feels like it's part of you, and it's not uncomfortable. And the one thing that I suppose you could say it's design 101 to start with. The first thing you do is right, let's make the customer feel comfortable with it in their hand. Let's make them feel happy when they've got it in their arm and they're out and they're swinging. Because the last thing I want to do is if I'm swinging a machine, and Gaz is, I haven't used that machine at all really, but I find that if I pick up any other machine after I've used the Deus, and it doesn't matter what it is, every other machine feels alien in my hand, because I've been so used to something that literally you pick it up and you don't have to move your wrist left or right or up or down. You don't have to adjust anything. It is a complete comfort zone straight away. And from the moment you get it out the boot and you switch her on and you get out to the moment you pack it away, there's no aches or pains or absolutely nothing. And I cannot give enough praise to the design that must have gone into to making the Deus, and the thought that had gone into it. They didn't just release the Deus quickly to try and get it out there. They sat and they must have thought about it, and then they made sure everything was pretty much there before they released it. And I think the first thing you have to do is, like Gary probably said before, it's getting that comfort in your hand, making the electronics and everything else and what goes into it. Yeah, but the first thing you've got to do is make sure it feels comfortable in your hand, because if it's not, people aren't going to use it. They're not, they're not going to use it.
Gary, I'm sorry. Go ahead.
I was sorry, Mike. I was going to say that when you're buying a new machine, the first thing you've really got to ask yourself is this machine made to a price, or is this machine made to a standard? And there's a really big difference between those two things. And as Gaz was saying, he feels comfortable when he picks up the Deus, but from my point of view, a part of my job is understanding the competition's machines, like using the competition's machines, making sure I understand it fully, so then I can make educated decisions, if you like. I can talk to the guys at XP about what features it has and what advantages or disadvantages it's got. So I'm coming at it from a slightly different angle. I'm not going to diss the machine, but I kind of know its strengths and weaknesses, and that's kind of where I am at the moment with them.
I just want to say, when it comes to weight and ergonomics and all that, I am not hard on a detector. So when I bring up this one, to me, it was so bad. If I was to have one, I would have to change it up. I'd have no choice. It was very uncomfortable to me. I don't even know if I could change it up to me. And that's why I bring it up. I am not hard on many very few out there would I say, oh, that's so uncomfortable. You mentioned a couple of the others. I can't even swing those anymore because of the weight. I hate to say that, and maybe we'll just move past that. But yeah, I'm not saying, oh, this isn't perfect. I'd heard a lot of complaints, and I thought, people are just complaining. But when I actually got one in my hand, I thought, oh man, this is horrible. And you're right. There's a difference between, I think you put that brilliantly, Gary, about building for a price or building. Yeah, I get that. That's really, really good. But I think we've said enough. But anybody that's held in a Deus, they know that thing is very comfortable, very well built, very lightweight.
Just before we move on, by trade, I'm an aircraft fitter. I started in the Airbus industry, and obviously aircraft for many years were made aluminium and such like. Back about 10, 12 years ago, the aircraft industry moved over to carbon fibre, basically because of the shortage of material in the world, and also it's a man-made substance, but also to assist with the weight of the aircraft and the energy and the fuel consumption and everything. So the prime example for the Deus from me would be the aircraft industry are far lighter, are far economical now than they used to be, and that's where the changes come. All the aircraft industries are doing that now. This is where the carbon fibre shafts and the weight concept comes into it. Do your own work, not Deus obviously, but other companies do the homework and get to the point where they can make things as light as possible for the ergonomic and other areas of the body assistance with people like me. That's just giving an idea of the weight differential. Imagine an aircraft made of fully of metal in comparison to something made of the same material that the Deus is made of.
The thing is, though, Dave, as well, it's not just about the graphite shafts and that we're seeing coming out. A friend of mine's got a machine, and she's just got the new carbon shaft for her machine. What you have to remember is, as well, the ergonomics of the handle and the arm cup is so important. There's a few new machines out there that are performing really, really out in the field, but I just don't think they quite got it right with the ergonomics of the actual machine. Before I bought the ORX, I tried out about 6 or 7. I had a short list of 6 or 7 different machines, and I tried them all out. And the one of the things for me was, the weight, but also the ergonomics of holding it, how you swing it, and it's XP ticked that box for me with the design of the new S-Lite stem.
So final question from me, Graham: are you happy with your machine?
I am, yes. So far, so good.
And you would obviously tell other people that DORX is a machine that
definitely,
they should have a go of.
I know a lot of people that are, they've been detecting now about a year or so that are looking to upgrade to the next sort of level, and if they've got the money for a Deus or something of that level, go for it. If you don't have that sort of money, then the ORX is, as Gary B said earlier on in our conversation, it's the Deus but without certain extra features. And as Gary Cook said in his great write-up, by the way, Gary Cook in
thank you.
This month's Searcher magazine, you could describe it as the younger brother to the Deus. It's a superb write-up, mate.
Yeah, we've got one.
Thank you, Graham.
We've got one in the Treasure Hunting magazine any day now. It's just the Treasure Hunting magazine's just slightly later than the Searcher, so that'll be in there soon.
And it'll also be in the Archaeology Metal Detecting magazine.
Yeah, and say one thing we haven't touched on, guys, is it's got a 5-year warranty as well. So
yeah,
that's how confident XP are in their products, really.
I could be wrong, but I don't know anybody that, off the top of my head, that's got a 5-year warranty. That's impressive. I mean, there might be, but not off the top of my head.
Well, I can't think of many products in the world that you can buy that'll give you a 5-year warranty these days.
Right.
Exactly.
Yeah. What frequency, Graham, were you using when you took your Orcs out?
I was on pasture, and it was my first proper time out. I used Coin Fast, but this Saturday I'm going to my permission in North Wales, which is all pasture, and on Gary B's advice, I'm going to give Coin Deep a go.
Yeah, definitely. Well, Gary's the best person to ask out of any of us. What Gary, as I say, I learned a hell of a lot from Gary. If you're going on pasture, then I would probably stick the frequency down as low as it will go. Then, if you're on pasture, and like Gary said,
we lost him.
It's gone.
Me and Gary. Oh, is he?
No, you're back, Gary.
I'm back again. I'm back again. I'm sorry, Gary. I was using Yorks all day on Sunday, and it was on arable land. It's cropped land, and I was using 25 kilohertz, and I was using a mixture of Coin Fast and Coin Deep. And how many Roman coins did we pull out, Gaz? Quite a few, wasn't it?
Oh, you better whisper it, mate. You don't want to get people jealous.
Don't whisper it, and then you get people wanting to buy one.
I think there's about 15 you had.
Put it this: if I find a Roman coin this Saturday when I'm out, the whole metal detecting world will know about it, because I am yet in 2 years to find a Roman coin. I've had a fibula brooch, but I would do,
Where do you,
top of my list. Well, there's permission. I live in Brighton. I live in Brighton down south, but I'm going up north tomorrow to that I've got. It's on the border of England and Wales. It's about 3 miles from Chester, the Roman city of Chester. So I'm hopeful.
But if you're ever around the Wiltshire area, okay, you've got an open invitation to come out on one of my Roman fields and bring your orcs with you, and I'll make sure you find a Roman coin. All right?
Oh, superb!
What
it's
an
a date.
offer! How generous, Gary.
Hey, that's fine. Well, we've got some good Roman fields, and Gaz can vouch for it. You cannot not hit at least 4 or 5 Roman coins, an hour in this. It's just filled with them. It's a Roman settlement, and you'll be more than welcome to come along if you wanted to. If you've got, just give me a shout and make contact with me, and you can come along and have a couple of hours or so on a good Roman site. But you're going to find one this weekend. You wait and see.
Fingers
Don't
crossed.
you just hate him? Don't you hate these people with good sites?
It's true. It's true.
Yeah, I go out with Cookie just to cheer myself up, because round here I find nothing. Do you know what? I go out with a good buddy of mine, Andrew, he's deaf. He lip reads, and he uses a Deus. He's using one of Dillick's machines at the moment because he won it in a competition. But he can't hear anything. He just feels like a vibration through his headphones, and then he looks at the meter just to get an idea whether to dig or not.
Oh.
He's a great guy. He really is. 2 weeks ago he had a gold stater. Last week he had a nice hammered coin. And I think, he's detected in my footprints and he's finding stuff. So maybe it's something to do with gods. Maybe I killed a sparrow or something. I don't know. But it's just not. I have to go to Cookies just to remind me what it's like to find some coins.
Last time, Gary, you came out on one of the fields, you went home with 3 Roman brooches, half a dozen Romans, and a silver Roman as well, I think, mate, didn't you?
I think you brought them with you just to cheer me up.
Threw them in front of you, yeah?
That's right, yeah.
Okay, gentlemen, real quick, I want to kind of wrap up, see if Dave has any more questions that we want to go over. Graeme as well, see what we need to do. Then I want to work on getting Dave DiNatale on and talk about Team USA and with Gary and him. Does anybody have any questions? Dave, do we have any more questions?
Yeah, I've got 1 or 2 quick ones.
Okay.
Obviously, we've been discussing the weight of the machine. Are the components more expensive to enable it to be lighter?
Mainly down to digital engineering, Dave. With digital engineering, you can make the circuit boards a lot smaller and be more power efficient, so they don't need massive batteries. So, yeah, it's a combination of things.
And that's also the reason why the control box is so tiny compared to other machines.
Absolutely. Digital compared to analog is much, much smaller, much more efficient, much more economical on the power. And we're using Pentium processors in our products, so, you've got the reliability and the power there.
Brilliant. How much does a full Deus cost now?
Right, okay. How much does a full Deus cost? In the UK, it's around £1,300. And the Deus Lite with 9-inch coil and WS4 headphones is about £699. So,
Well, the questions I'm asking, they're just some ones that we've come up with, obviously. So, listeners, being an XP show, we wanted listeners to become a little bit more aware of products and such like. So, other than the Deus and the ORX, what other products that XP currently have trading?
Right. Well, we have what we call the wired range, which are not the wireless. They got the wired coil. We're still selling a lot of the Gold Max Powers. They're one of the original Deuses, and they're still really, really popular, especially in places like Italy and that. They love them. That's 749. That runs off about 18 kilohertz, I think. We've got the ADX 150, and that's just over £400, about £406. The good thing about that and the G-Max, there's such a wide range of search coils available for that. There really is a load of coils. The G-Max 2 is about 649. So our cheapest one's about 406, which is the ADX 150, which is literally a switch on and go, running at about 4 kilohertz, I think. So we have got quite an extensive range of machines, but people tend to just gravitate towards the Deus, which I don't blame. But say new products we've got coming out hopefully this year, we've got something above the Deus and something below the Deus, so keep your eye out for that. So we've, like I said earlier in the show, we're really working hard to get this stuff up and running this year.
So it's a busy year for XP.
Oh, it's crazy when you think there's only 40 odd people in the company to knock out the amount of machines and get all the product testing done, and it's just crazy.
Gary, can I ask you a question about what I know you said you couldn't really say much about the new machines, but one question I do have that I'm hoping you might answer: will one of them new machines be a fully waterproof machine?
Hopefully.
Okay, that's a good enough answer.
Hopefully, we will be looking along those lines, but XP, they don't just do a waterproof machine or whatever it might be. There's some neat little twists added to this machine, what other people haven't done. So a lot of people ask us about why haven't you released a multi-frequency machine? Well, the honest answer to that really is, if we could get a multi-frequency machine that works better than the Deus inland, then we'd release it. But until we can get one what's better than the Deus inland, there's just no point. Sure, multi-frequency will be brilliant on wet sand because it calculates the algorithms from the salt signal. So brilliant. It's got two channels to compare, etc., etc. But there's kind of no point releasing that multi-frequency jobby until it absolutely beats the Deus inland. So that's really the stumbling block we've got on that one.
The updates that obviously you release semi-regularly, there was one about 2, maybe 3 months ago, if I'm not incorrect. Is there any future up and coming updates that for the Deus itself?
I'd love to bring out a version 6. I've got some brilliant ideas, but they've sort of shot me down on that one and said, look, we've got enough on our plate at the minute. Just go away. So there's nothing planned at the moment, but you just never know. You never know it's just really Labour's slowing us down because we're only a small company. And when you go over to France, you think, how do people do what they do? How do we get so many machines out? And the amount of robotics which are appearing in that factory now, they're appearing on a monthly basis, and it's brilliant. It's great to watch these robots at work, just picking and choosing and soldering and doing all sorts of stuff. And the beauty of using robotics to manufacture things is you get a very consistent standard all the way through,
And quality.
You do. It's brilliant. But they're doing a great job over there. They really
Marvellous. Well, one thing I'll definitely be doing, obviously at Detectable last year, it was my first time at any such like event. obviously yourself, you were very busy, as I was myself, but definitely this year I'll be taking a little bit more time out to come around to different companies like XP and just have a play with what's there personally, because as Mike knows, technically I'm not with it. So by learning a little bit more about these machines at events like Detectable, that's a big thing for me this year.
Yeah, I was speaking to Luke, I think it was yesterday, and he was talking about coming down and having a day with us. So you're more than welcome to come down with him and spend a bit of time with us.
Appreciate that. Mileage may not allow on us early on a Sunday morning, but I certainly hope to do so anyway. Mm-hmm. He's doing a dig in the summer, I think, which I've promised I'll be going down to. So that'll be me going out of my way to. I don't do long distance driving generally. That was years ago when I'd done it for a living. I'd rather sit at home and sleep now. But yeah, I'll definitely be wanting to do that anyway, and have a. It's not just your own machines, Gary. I'd like to learn more about, because I'm such a technophobe when it comes to metal detectors, and I think it'll benefit myself and the magazine and the radio show if I do learn more about each machine individually and firsthand, as opposed to out reading on them on the internet or watching people on YouTube.
Absolutely, yeah. We need to get you out there, though, Dave.
Certainly do. Well, that's all the questions I've got, Mike, for this part of the show anyway.
Okay, good. Graeme, do you have anything?
No, I just needed to mention to Dave, Liverpool are losing 1-0 to City.
Yes, I know. Be quiet. Shut up. Go away.
I should be listening to it on the radio, Graeme, actually, but as I say, I'm doing this podcast as well, so I'm keeping an eye on the score as we're talking.
Yeah, Liverpool had one cleared off the line. Good.
Well, in fact, the Aguero goal shouldn't have been allowed in my eyes, because he was lying on the floor waiting for the ball to come in, and when the ball came in, he got up and scored. So,
referee gave it.
Yeah.
The best result for my team is a draw anyway, because I'm a Spurs fan. So.
Well, we won't say any more about that, Gary.
Gary C., do you have any questions or anything you want to add?
No, I think that's, I know Gary was talking about, the robotics at XP and how they look to the future and stuff. Well, if you've ever folded a Deus up, you have a look and tell me what it looks like.
Starship Enterprise.
There you go. It looks just like the Starship Enterprise.
Yeah.
I'd just like to give Gary some kudos for the Rodney Cook Memorial Charity Rally that he organised a few months ago. You raised £7,000 for that, and to yourself and everybody involved, I'd just like to give kudos for that, because your dad and my mum both passed away from something not dissimilar. So, it was I was keeping my eye on it, and obviously I couldn't attend, but kudos for that anyway. A great job.
I'll give you it was a great weekend, and I know you've spoken about it before on your show, so I won't big it up any more than what's already been said. But Gary, as you know, is a good friend of mine. He's a very close friend of mine, and we get on exceptionally well. And he took it on board with me and helped me massively. Not with lots of things, with not just the support from XP, with the raffle prizes and the sponsorships, but the sitting me down and talking to me sometimes, and just having an extra when things weren't going quite as well as they should have been, and I was having a few problems. Gary was always a shoulder to cry on, and we'd have a cup of tea, and and we went over to Belgium earlier on in the year to do a rally in Belgium, the Pascal Lebrun rally, and we did a little video together to promote the rally, and and we were just, we spent a bit of time together, and he was I can't thank him enough. And, between him and all the other guys like Pete Turrell and Nigel at Regdon's and Luke at Joan Allen for all their support. But Gary was always listening to me and giving me advice because he'd been there and done it and worn the T-shirt. So I really can't thank him enough. But I can give you a bit of an exclusive, Dave, if you want it.
I'd love one.
I'll give you an exclusive. The Rodney Cook Rally will be returning this year.
Wow,
fantastic. And will that be in Wiltshire?
It's in Wiltshire. We have preliminarily got a site. I don't want to say too much because I don't want to put the kids to death on it. But we went out last week, me and one of the other members of the committee, and we found a site and we've got a date. And dates we're looking at are probably going to be the same as last year, the week after Detectable. And we're raising money this time for children's leukemia at Bath Royal United. So one of our club members' grandson suffers from leukemia. Luke, his name's Luke, and he suffers from leukemia. So we're raising money for the Bath Royal United Children's Leukemia Award. And let's see if we can top 27,000 from this year that we raised for cancer care, for the cancer care unit. So
brilliant.
The exclusive for you guys is, I've not mentioned this to anybody yet, apart from Gaz, that we are coming back in September.
Excellent. And if there's anything that we can do to assist, help, promote, etc., get anything out there, obviously, please feel free to contact myself or Luke with that at any time. And obviously, we can come back on the show nearer and discuss at length what's going on.
Yeah, we're hoping to be bigger and better. Well, I don't think we can better what we had, to be fair, this year. We had accumulation of everything, just a brilliant landowner, a brilliant location, and I had brilliant friends. And as I say, it's not really kudos to me, Dave. It's to everybody who was involved in helping me, because for me it was an idea. The rest of it was my brilliant friends who all clubbed together and did everything in their power to help me get it off the ground and to get it going. And I don't want to take any credit for it at all, because the credit should go to every single one, including Gaz, every single one who turned up and supported it, because we had a few hurdles, but we got over them. But it was I know we've talked about it before, but it was just a fantastic, and Gary summed it up when he said it was just like the old days, where it was nothing about detector bashing or mine's better than yours or test beds to prove that his detector's better than your detector. None of that. It was a group of people detecting as a family, having fun. It didn't matter what metal detector you had. It didn't matter about the weather. We were all there to raise money for a brilliant cause, and we had a brilliant time. And I think you could probably back that up, Gaz, can't you?
Absolutely, mate. It was I'm so glad that you're doing it again, because it'd just relive it again, really. I mean, it's fantastic. Well, and the cancer is just a brilliant charity to give money to. Like you rightly said, Gaz, there's nothing really I can top to that. But I don't know what happened to that video you and I done at the Pascal when we sat on the car talking about the illness and stuff. But maybe sort of share it with the guys on the Archimag website or something if you can dig it out.
I've got a copy of it. And it's the one where me and you just off the cuff, speaking quite frank about cancer and why we're doing the rally, and yeah, it was quite an emotional clip, really. It was me and you back to basics, really.
That's right.
I just bought in there. Gary Cook, superb, mate. I mean, I'm a nurse, a children's emergency department nurse. In a way, it's very, very, very sad that in this day and age that, Joe Public has to raise money for this sort of thing. Let me tell you for nothing. The children's A&E that I work in, there's not many specialist children A&E in the country. And the one that I work in, we're supported by a local charity called Rocking Horse. Without charities, certain things can't happen. Like, for example, my uniform is paid for by the charity. The equipment that our hospital uses is mainly bought by the charity, and that's from members of the public, like your good self, like the companies like XP, Regtons, that are making these donations for charitable events. It's unbelievable, mate. So well done to everyone that was involved in that. If I can be involved in some way with this year's event, then just contact me, mate. You got my Facebook details. I'll be there, mate.
Hey, Gary.
It was just
Gary C. Do us a favor, and when it's a few months out, contact me. We can start running a little ad on each show.
Yeah.
And then, like, I don't know, we can discuss it maybe a month out. Let's get you back on, and we can tell everybody about it, and we can talk about it.
Thank you. That'd be amazing, Mike. Thank you so much. As I say, we're keeping pretty much the logistics of it is the same as what we had before. You know, we're still calling it the Rodney Cook Memorial Rally because it's named after my father, who as you know, I lost to cancer in 2016, and we thought, well, we had the Facebook page already there, we had everything ready, good to go, you know. So we're just we've done, you know, we're keeping it. Last year, as you know, it was for the cancer care unit at Bath Royal United, and you know, the amazing sum of £27,500 was raised. But this time around, it's still a cancer charity, and it's in the same hospital. But it's as I said before, it's for children's leukemia, and you know, if we can get anywhere near the 27,000 that we raised, and as I say, it's completely non-profit as well. You know, every single penny that we get, right down to the very last pence, goes to the charity. You know, everything is donated. It's got nothing to do. You know, there's no profit in it for anybody. It's a pure. You know, obviously there's expenses like portaloos and things like that you have to buy, but once you cleared all that out, every single penny goes to the charity. And if we can get anywhere near the 27,000 that we raised it in 2017, it would be amazing. And you know, if I could get half the help that we had, you know, from in support, it would be incredible. And it's from people like all of you. You know, words cannot express the gratitude that I have for everyone who helped me, because you know, I'd be here all night if I tried to name everybody, but you know, they all know who they are. And it was just an amazing weekend. And as I say, Gary B summed it up when he spoke about it, when he said it was the camaraderie about it, the event. It was that was what he loved, you know, and it was that got it was the camaraderie of everybody together, raising money for a single cause, and there was no animosity about, oh, that machine's rubbish, or didn't matter what machine you had. It was all about getting together and having fun for the week, and that's what we did. And if we can replicate that this year, it would be amazing.
Great job, yeah. We got Dave D coming on tonight, did you say then?
We
Mike?
have him on now. Yes, we do.
Oh, brilliant.
How you doing, Dave?
Hey, hello, guys. Good. How you guys doing in there in the UK?
Fantastic.
Go Manchester United.
No. Just against Man City. We're happy.
Actually, I'm a Leeds fan. You guys probably didn't know that.
Boo! Dirty Leeds.
I just want to make sure I piss off everybody, okay?
So, I'm really excited to talk about XP Team USA. And the first question is actually for Gary B, though. In America, you've been involved in forming XP Team USA, or have you been involved in, and how did it come about? How did it come about? What brought it on?
Well, I've been looking for some decent American bloggers for a little while, and I've known Dave since I really started with XP. Yes. And we just started sort of knocking a few ideas around the park, and we just come up with the Team USA, and you know, Dave's kind of took the reins on this project, which is quite rightly so, and he's got a really good team together. It's going from strength to strength. The Facebook page is brilliant. The podcasts, as you know, are really, really good. We're just chuffed to bits with what these guys are doing for us, you know. So I'm looking forward to 2019 because they've got some really good stuff in the pipeline.
It all started out with we wanted to do something different, and we started out by putting this show together. As you know, we our first couple of shows were done in the studio, and then we had some I don't want to call it technical difficulties to be politically correct, but we had to go in a different direction, and we took it out of the studio and we put it in where it should be. As Luke Higgins said to me, he said it's a metal detecting show. It should be done outside. So we did after I'm going to say probably 6 months into it, we kind of developed into our little niche where we're basically doing stories, historical stories with metal detecting. So it's a kind of a genre that everybody can enjoy, and even if you're not an XP user, it's still entertaining as a metal detecting show.
I couldn't agree more. I think it doesn't matter whether you have an XP or not. It's a great show.
Dave, although it's released on YouTube, obviously the TV show is quality. I've watched numerous episodes. It's got great sound quality, intros and editing's brilliant. Are you involved in the editing process at all?
Actually, we have a gentleman in the UK. It's actually works with Gary, Stuart Mina. I'm assuming I said it right. Correct. And here in the States, the pieces that we do here in the States, Stuart puts the whole show together from start to finish. We'll give him features and clips, and then he'll put the whole show together, which is a huge, massive help to us. And as far as the features that come from us, that's kind of a workings between myself and RC. RC Dunn, he's I would call him our producer in here in Iowa. He's on our team member too. And RC will, like, if I'll go out and get footage for the show, I'll give that to RC. RC will put that together. He'll piece it all together, add the music, the lower thirds, and we'll take turns on the voiceover. He's got a really good voice as far as doing voiceovers. So, and you could, on our last show about Tim Glick, RC put that all together, did the voiceovers. But I actually went out to meet Tim and spent 3 days out there getting all the footage.
Brilliant. They are great videos, and obviously anybody who is listening, XP or not an XP user, please visit the XP Team USA channel on YouTube, and you'll see, or on the website itself, and you'll see what good videos they actually are.
Yeah, well, I mean, we wouldn't even be to this point right now without the support from XP corporate, Gary. They really backing us to do what we love. One, metal detecting, and plus RC and myself have a background in production, theater, and so we get to do two of our favorite things: making video, making films, and metal detecting. But without XP's help, this whole XP Team USA would not exist.
And it's given the subject, and especially XP brand, a massive boost in USA. I take it, Gary.
Absolutely. No, I couldn't wish for more. Actually, it's really taken off. I just wish there'd be more people coming through the door and watching the videos, really. And this is what people think. Yeah, they're based on XPs, but they're not. They're just metal detecting videos, and they're just such good quality. You know, we really need to get the word out there and just get more people watching them.
Mm-hmm.
As Gary was saying, our YouTube channel is relatively new because we actually started one, and when we broke away from the other two guys that were working in the studio with us and took it in a different direction, we had to start the channel all over again. So we lost thousands of views. I think we had almost 400 or 500 subs within the first couple months. So basically, we had to start all over again. But I've noticed in this last video, subscriptions are jumping up and views are jumping up a lot faster. So I think once we get more content, our channel will be more, I think, I'm going to say more viewable, more accessible to people that know that we are out there. And then we'll get those numbers up.
Absolutely.
I'm just doing a bit of sharing as we speak now. I've been over to that, and I've listed that in the comments box on the All Metal Mode Spreaker podcast chat room, and I'm just putting that on the All Metal Mode UK podcast as well.
Yeah, I mean, you'll see that we have 3 features on there, 3 really great shows, our last 3 shows. We also carry our podcast team, XP Team USA podcast, which is relatively new. It's only been out for a couple of months, and it's doing really well. It's also on Spreaker, and we also run those shows on the YouTube channel, XP Team USA. So you get the podcast, you get the shows, and plus we'll start to put together some technical videos with the XP Deus and the new ORX on there.
Brilliant.
Yeah, this year it really is all going to come together because we've got some great plans for the show, as Dave just said, and with the new XP website we're building, the Team XP will be hosted on the official XP website. So yeah, it's all going to be under one umbrella for the future. So it's looking
obviously
good.
We've got Team XP USA. Are there any plans for anything similar in the UK or any other countries?
It's just time, to be fair with you, Dave. We just don't have time to sort of monitor all these different companies. As I say, we've got some guys in Romania doing a really good job. We've got a guy in Estonia at the moment who's going to be managing the Russian side of things. So, yeah, we are putting a lot of stuff together, but it's bit by bit. It's a job.
To answer your question, Dave, it's not an easy endeavor. You have to have the right people on board, and you can't. The people that come on board, it's not, hey, we're sponsored by XP. Let's get a bunch of free stuff and absolutely do nothing and just tell people that we're sponsored by XP. It's not like that. We've lost a lot of people because that's what they expected, and that didn't happen, and so they left, which is fine. We narrowed it down. We have a really group of people. We have about 10 under our belt as far as so-called admins, which we're actually not calling ourselves that anymore. We have some field reps, and the people that are on board right now are really a tight-knit family. And once you get that foundation and you put a team, XP Team UK together, it's a lot of work. It's a lot of fun, but you have to have the right people. And once you have that right people in place, it's much easier for XP to come and say, hey, all right, let's do something. Let's do something together. I like to see XP Team USA branch out and get together with the other countries, the Romanian XP team and the Italian one. And if you guys put a Team XP Team UK together, so we can kind of encompass this whole umbrella. Right now, if you look at the XP Facebook pages, here in the United States, we're the number 1 page. There's a couple in the UK that are really doing well. But there's offshoots. And these offshoots have 600 members, 2,000 members. And they just kind of distance themselves and make it more of a competition than actually coming together as XP. Because that's what we're here for. We're here to promote XP here in the United States. And if you start making it about yourself and about how many likes you get and how many people, how many members you got in your Facebook page, instead of encompassing and bringing XP and all together, it starts making it a little difficult. My main goal is obviously to help XP here in the United States, and also just to, in general, help XP users all over the world. But I'm not going to make myself so thin where I'm going to branch out to that. I'm going to pretty much concentrate here on the United States, but would love to work with other XP teams across the world.
Sounds great. Obviously, we've mentioned a few times tonight Tim Glick. Can you tell the listeners the story about Tim Glick, if you wouldn't mind?
Yep. Tim, he's a metal detectorist out of Ohio, just western Ohio, small town. And Tim has gone through some, you got to call him a cat, because he's got 9 lives or maybe more. Tim has gone through many, many difficult problems, more than one person can really endure. But the worst of all was losing his son in a car accident. That really took Tim down to rock bottom. Tim also was dealing with, at that time, having multiple strokes. I mean, you get one stroke and, you lose mobility in your arm or your leg or one side of your body. If you have 2 strokes, you're pretty much got one foot in the grave. This guy had 3 strokes, cancer, and heart issues, and he survived. But the real thing he had to get over but to actually get him out from rock bottom was when he lost his son in a car accident. And with metal detecting, and going back and looking up his family history and the first settlers, it kind of brought him, I'm going to say brought him back from the dead, because he had no direction. He didn't know where his life was going to take him. And when he started getting involved with metal detecting and the XP Deus and just making videos and going out hunting and finding his family history, that really brought him back to life. I've had the fortunate enough to go down there and shoot this feature with Tim. I was down there for 3 days. I went down there with absolutely no preconceptions. I knew the bulk of the story. I knew what happened to him, but it was a big eye-opening when I went down there and actually had to do the get all the footage for the show. There was a couple parts that were very difficult to do. One was actually asking him the question to actually rehash the accident and talk about it in detail. He took me out to the roadside where there's a memorial, where the exact spot where his son's car landed up before he was heliported to the hospital. And that's the memorial out there. It's been there since for 13 years, and he just takes care of it. You'll see it in the video. And I had the camera on him, and he was telling me the story, and he just broke down and started crying. And I just, all right, shut the camera off. I just got this big lump in my stomach, because if the worst thing that can ever happen to anybody is losing their child. And I just don't even know how he did it, how he dealt with it, but I just can't imagine what he was going through. So I learned so much about this guy, how strong he is, from the stories he would tell me, from the places he would take me, and it was really difficult to get into his comfort zone. When he picked me up from the airport, he didn't know me from Adam. I mean, we talked he was on the team, and we talked, and we had meetings together, but we never really met each other face to face. And it was tough to get his I don't know, say it was respect, but it was tough to have Tim trust me. And I think in the first couple hours we talked a lot. His defenses started coming down, and once he started to get to know me, he opened up a little bit more, And but his story is just an amazing story. And if anybody hasn't seen this video, I'm just, you got to go to XP Team USA, look up our latest video with Tim Glick. You know, it's metal detecting saved my life, and look at it. I don't care if you come on it and you don't sub, you don't ring the bell. It doesn't matter. If you're a metal detector, or you're into metal detecting, this is probably one of the greatest moments I had as far as putting together a feature. But it was an eye-opening experience. It was 3 long days we were there. We get up at 7 a.m. to 8 o'clock at night, and we would be out in the field. We'd doing interviews, and it was tough because, Tim had 3 strokes. So you had to be very patient because, even though he comes off really like there's nothing wrong with him, he does have issues of getting the words out, or getting what he really wants to say. And didn't want to make him. I want him to be as comfortable as possible. And so we did little tricks that I learned when I was an actor way back when that would help him get through this. And I think the 3 days we got all the footage. I was very happy. I wish I could have spent time there metal detecting with him. We didn't have much time. We're battling weather issues, rain. So when it rained, we were inside doing the inside stuff, and then as soon as it stopped, we jumped out into the fields. But I got to meet a lot of people in his life. His wife, this is just a great lady that really took care of Tim in his time of need.
Fantastic story. Obviously, there's a lot of people who have been helped by metal detecting. In a couple of weeks' time, we've got a gentleman coming on who's he's part of the website Digging for Veterans. A lot of people, obviously, with post-traumatic stress and other issues, who have taken up metal detecting to help themselves or found that it's helped them. So, we can wholeheartedly appreciate how difficult it can be for people and how good metal detecting can bring to the individual.
Yeah, with Tim, I talked about coming down and see him and getting this feature in the can for him because he really wanted to tell his story. I think Mike, you're there, right? Right, you're still there.
Yeah,
Mike did an article about him. Metal detecting saved my life, and I actually saw the cover of that when I went to meet him, and never really got to read the article. And I'm going to go back and read it now that I know the story. But I'm glad I sort of didn't read it because I didn't want any preconceptions of what I wanted to make this video about. I'm sure most of our stuff will overlap between his written article and the video itself. But it's I lost my track of thought here. But it's just he's a great guy, and I hope to go down there maybe in a few months to go down there and just go down there as a friend and hang out with them and detect.
That's the problem with the US, isn't it, Dave? I didn't realise what a big place it is. It's like in England, if you go to the other side of the country to visit someone, it's only a few hour drive. But for you guys, it means getting on a plane in most cases, doesn't it? And
yeah, because Tim is about 13 hours, or not, I would say about 10 hours away. And if you drove, and so and to go out to see like XP Sonia, she's on our team. I went out and saw her, and she was like 7 hours away. RC is about 7-8 hours away. So, and that's drive time. What we're trying to do right now is kind of close that gap up a little bit. We have a little bit better of a budget from XP, so we'll be able to, get some great features and great stories, and we'll be able to get them out a little bit faster and get to the places that we really want to get these stories. And so you should notice that the features were coming like once a month, once every 6 weeks. We really didn't have a timetable. But right now we're kind of shortening up our videos to maybe 15 to 20 minutes, and we're going to try to get a 2 out per month because they take a lot of time to put together, a lot of travel time to get to the place to put them, to get the video. So, yeah, United States is it's really big. It's not like, zipping through. I mean, even though the UK is, 2 hours here, 3-4 hours.
Sure.
That's like the state of Wisconsin. It would take me, from east to west, it would take me a good 5 hours just to get across Wisconsin. So
crazy.
Yeah. You've, I think Gary alluded to an XP dig that was going to be transpiring this year. Is that still on the go?
I think at this time, I think at this time we need to concentrate on a little bit more things than that major dig. We are making plans to go to some smaller ones. We're kind of just trying to get our feet wet because we haven't really touched those. That part of the phase, I'm going to call it phase 2. Phase 1 was getting all the social media, everything put together, getting the show on track, getting the podcast and website and everything going. Phase 2 was more about getting better features, getting more shows out, and actually kind of maybe helping the dealers out across the country and go into some of these hunts and rallies, some of the smaller ones. Initially, we talked about last year that we might do something in the fall, have a big XP sponsored rally. But I just think with so much stuff going on with XP right now, it just takes a lot of planning. And right now we want to concentrate on getting our numbers up and kind of helping and getting the dealers and everybody in one cohesion group, and so everybody's on the same page. And once that happens, and then we can think about having a big rally here. Brilliant.
Well, we look forward to seeing what happens there in the future, anyway.
Yeah, well, maybe I would say if things go great this year, which I'm anticipating that everything will go really good this year. We meet all our expectations.
Whoa, what is that? Who are we getting that feedback from?
Don't think it's me.
It's not me. Dave
Gary
D?
Cook. Is Gary Cook?
No,
No, not me.
Still there? We good?
We're still here, but we just got some bad noise in the background from one of us. And it's not me. I went to the toilet before we came on.
It was Gary Cook. I just disconnected.
Okay, we're good. So, like I said, once we get everything, we get what we plan to do this year. I could foresee something happening in 2020.
So, Gary Blackwell, have you got any plans to be off over to the United States in the near future?
Yes, first quarter I'm going over to the States to meet up with the guys, meet some dealers, just try and put some plans into action. So yeah, absolutely, I've got to go to the US, and I've got to go to China as well at some point to speak to the guys. So it's looking like it's going to be a really busy year. I've just booked my flight just now to France, so I've got to go to France in a few days' time for some meetings there. So yeah, it's we're up and running again.
Marvelous.
Christmas is over.
It is. I've had a nightmare few weeks, so yeah, I'm back at work, but that's getting busier and busier. But hopefully, it looks like we're potentially going on to 4 on 4 off, which gives me the ability to actually do what I want to do, which I haven't been able to do for a while. So I can totally appreciate your busyness. Is that a word?
Busyness sounds good anyway.
We'll have that.
Yeah.
Mike, have you got anything else?
No, I think I've covered everything I wanted to.
So, Gary, have you got anything left that you'd like to throw in this evening?
No, only to say thanks to all the guys for supporting XP and watching the videos and just being generally good people. So really, really appreciate it and wish everyone a happy, healthy 2019. Dave,
anything from yourself?
Yeah, just come and check us out on Facebook at XP Team USA, or go to our our YouTube page with the same name, XP Team USA, and check out our podcast with Dave Kimball and Grant Hansen. The guys are doing a bang up job. We've got some really great guests coming in the next couple of weeks, and you'll enjoy that. And if you get a chance to come on our website, that's xpdeus-usa. And I just want to thank all the players on the team, our XP Team USA team. You guys are doing a really great job, and it's a really tight, close-knit family. And I'm looking forward to 2019 and Gary Blackwell coming out to see us. Got a couple hunts already planned where we're gonna do together. And it's going to be fun.
Dave, would you mind giving us a quick name drop of all of Team USA so everybody knows, the people who are involved and they get a mention as well?
Sure. Obviously, there's Tim Glick. Tim's out of Ohio. Out of Iowa, we got Len Quellen and R.C. Dunn. Indiana, we got Sonia Harshman. In New Jersey, we got Grant Hansen. And down in Louisiana, John DeVille. In Oklahoma, we got Dave Kimball. And we got some field reps that, let me just make sure I don't have all our field reps on board right now, but I think I covered
it must
everybody.
Be a big amount of travel for any individually to meet up anyway.
Well, what we're going to try to do is kind of condense things where we're going to meet up. And we're not only are going to meet up at a certain hunt, but while we're there, we're going to cut a feature and also hook up with a dealer to help the dealer out at the hunt. So we're going to try to kill 3 birds with one stone, because our budget's not huge. We're not money's flying out the window here. So I think with the plan that we have, we'll be able to do a lot of things this year.
Brilliant. Well, obviously, I'd like to thank each and every one of you for coming on tonight. Gary Blackwell, Graeme Stokes, Gary Cook, and Dave DiNatale. Pronounce it for us, Dave.
DiNatale.
DiNatale.
Yeah, if you guys know that soccer player in Italy, yeah, because there's a soccer player in Italy whose name is DiNatale.
Yeah. So obviously, thank you all for coming on tonight. We couldn't do the show without input from yourselves, obviously. And obviously, all the best to each and every one of you for New Year, and obviously to XP itself. We wish you the best of luck for all things coming up, and we look forward to learning about them even more.
We're all still learning, Dave, aren't we? We're still learning these machines. Every time we go out, we learn something new, and that's the beauty of it.
Absolutely. Well, yeah, thanks, guys. Thanks for having me on. It was a pleasure, and God save the Queen.
Pleasure's all ours.
Thank you,
okay, guys, signing off now. So thank you very much, everyone, and catch you really, really soon.
You take care, Gary.
See you again.
Take care, Dave. Thanks again.
Right,
and Graeme, if you're still in the background. Oh, he's gone too.
Yeah, Graham's
So,
gone.
Michael.
Yep.
Another great show.
Yeah, absolutely.
And we've got some great guests coming up for you in the coming weeks. Next week, we have Chris Langford from Metal Detecting Holidays here in the UK. He's featured prominently in the UK press over the last week or so. Articles discussing some of the American visitors to the UK shores who has been working with him, and we're going to learn a lot more about him next week. The following week, we have Steve Mera, who's a very good friend of mine. Steve's going to be coming on, and a couple of weeks ago we had the Curse of Oak Island interview with Randall Sullivan. Steve will be also in a different area than metal detecting. We will be discussing some metal detecting with Steve, but we'll also going to be looking at his recent visit over to Peru and the alleged mummy in Peru on archaeological grounds, obviously. Following week after that, we have Jason Massey, who I mentioned earlier, from the Digging for Veterans group, and hopefully some of the veterans also will be coming on. And I think that's going to be quite a poignant show, Mike.
Yeah, absolutely. Sounds like a great lineup.
And we've got more going on into the future. We've got some other guests coming back that have been on previously. We've got another chap from the Curse of Oak Island looking at it from a different slant. And I think we've got somebody or one or two other people from other companies who we've not spoke to in the past, manufacturers. So I know one of them you personally are looking forward to greatly to discussing about C-Scope.
Yes, absolutely, I am. Another thing I wanted to bring up, I've had a couple people now. Luke had talked to, what's his name? His YouTube channel's...
I know that you keep Skint Eastwood.
Yeah, Skint Eastwood. I've had a couple people ask when we're going to have him on, so we need to get him fit in when we can as well. Don't forget him. And
yeah, I think Luke has been speaking to him, and I know he's been a bit busy in his personal life. So as soon as Skint Eastwood has got time, I think he'll be popping on as well. And we also got promised by iDetect Harry last week. I'm just going to throw that out to him that he did promise he'd be coming on as well. Yeah. And there's one person who I personally would really, really like to listen to speak. Julian Evan Hart from Treasure Hunting Magazine. We spoke to him at a Detectable broadcast, and what a fantastic and interesting person with such a mind of knowledge and many, many, many years experience within the subject. So I'm hoping to we can get a date with Julian as well. Sorry, I'm mistaken, Mike. The week after next isn't Steve Meara, it's the week after that. Or hopefully we are having a guest on the 19th, a different guest. We're just waiting for the definite okay from that person. But that will be that'll be a pretty big show for the UK, and something I would like all British detectorists to listen to, because I think they're going to learn a hell of a lot from the guest, both historically and future of the subject in the UK. So I'm not going to say who yet, because obviously we've not tied him down completely for a date, but hopefully the 19th of January will be that person, and I think it's the 19th. What's it? 3, 12? Yeah, 19th, and then the 26th being Steve Meara, and the week after that being Jace Massey. I think that's right. If not, it will be on the All Metal Mode podcast, the rundown anyway. There you go.
Great, good deal. I'm so, I love this show and doing this one, and I mean no disrespect to the people I do the podcast with here in the United States and the guests, but I'm learning so much, and we've talked to so many interesting people. There's quite a few podcasts targeting the United States and the detectors, and it's like anybody known, they've been on podcast. So it's just a really unique opportunity, and I really love doing this. This has just become my weekly looking forward to,
Well, it's the same as myself, Mike. Obviously, you in the US are learning so much about UK. And I mean, even we've had DLEC on as well, and Rutus on. We've learned a lot about different companies that generally we wouldn't learn about. But myself, speaking to Gary, and I know we had other guests on tonight, but Gary Blackwell, he's a well of information, and you can tell he's so passionate about XP, and speaking to people like that, for me personally, I'm learning so much about that, which makes me want to go away and try the Deus, try the ORX. Other guests that we've had on, Mark Hambleton from the Leak Thrift Talk, fantastic speaker. I sat and listened to him doing a lecture. he's come on the show, and I've learned a whole lot more than I learned that night. So as well as you learning a lot about the subject in the UK.
Oh, absolutely.
So am I.
Good. Yeah, I'm glad you enjoy it. I definitely enjoyed it. It's like I said, it's become. I have great co-hosts here in the United States, Matt Hoffman and Gypsy Jules. I love talking to him. I love the people. But I think part of it is I don't know your history like I know ours, and I don't know. I've really gotten to know many of them, but I didn't know you guys and some of the people like I do now. And this sounds horrible to say, but the people we've interviewed and talked to, I think we've had some really great conversations, and I just really enjoy it. So
I think it may be an idea as well, Mike, that maybe Gypsy Jules and your other host, whose name eludes me, I apologise, maybe an idea for them to be introduced to the UK audience too. Obviously, we do work in different areas. The grounds are totally different in the UK to the US. The history is totally different. But I'm sure people would like to hear more from Gypsy Jules. Other people that you're speaking to in the US. I'm sure they'd like the UK listeners would also like to listen to anybody who could, open their eyes to different areas of the machines and such like.
Mm-hmm. One of the things that I've noticed, though, like when me and Luke first met, he got me some guests from the UK, which I was really happy to do, but like numbers really fell off. And I think vice versa. I think, people want to listen to somebody that they could actually meet up with or is in the same, because like you said, our histories are so different and our grounds are different and stuff. I am all for crossover and, maybe we can get Gypsy on one time and have her, like we could interview her just like she's a guest. And Matt's a great guy. Matt's not very active on social media and stuff, but he's very knowledgeable, has many detectors, very well, I'll tell you what, all my years of detecting, over 20 years, I think I have 2 or 3 store card tokens. And what that is, during the Civil War, a lot of businesses made their own money. And they were pennies. They often look like Indian head pennies. They are hard to come by. Matt probably has close to 40 of them.
We have similar in the UK from 1700s and such like. They're called tokens. I've got one myself from the Paris Mining Company in Anglesey, and again, it's a token that was made for people to basically give them their money to spend in their stores, basically.
Yes. Yeah.
I'll send you a picture over of that, Mike, one day. It's an absolutely gorgeous token. It's got the ornate writing on one side of the PMC, Paris Mining Company, and on the other side there's a druid, an old, how you'd think of with a cowl on and such, a bearded gentleman in a cowl. It's a fantastic looking coin.
Oh, I'd love to see a picture of that. Absolutely.
In fact, what I'll do before we finish off, I'll find a picture and I'll stick it on the All Metal Mode group. And I know quite a few people in the UK have that exact token that I've got, but there's many, many, many more. I've got a Liverpool token. Obviously, it was quite significant to me. I was out metal detecting and found a Liverpool token with the liver bird on the back, and it was when Liverpool played Man City a couple of years ago in the European Cup semi-final, I think. And I found the token in the afternoon and said, right, that tells me that Liverpool are going to win tonight, and Liverpool won.
That is too cool. Very cool. Well, Dave, everybody's saying good show, good night. I think they're trying to tell us something.
Okay, let's go to bed.
Another great show, Dave.
Enjoy, Mike, and I'll speak to you in the week, and I'll look forward to speaking to yourself and Chris next week.
Awesome. Good deal. Same here. Good night, Dave.
Take care, pal. Good night.
Thanks for everybody. Thank you to everybody that tuned in. Hope you enjoyed the show. Good night.